Hello, my name is Lance Stoltenberg with Elite Chair, and I will be talking to you about choreography cleanup. By now, you have established your routine. You're starting to run through it with counts. One of my suggestions is, even throughout the season, and if you change anything throughout your routine, is look at your routine in small, itty-bitty sections. Look at the routine, see how it flows, and then add on to the next section, and so on and so forth. When you look at the overall routine at one time, it gets kind of overwhelming. Once a routine is put together, what I suggest is that you take your score sheets that you will be competing with, take those score sheets, step back, take a look at your routine, and judge that routine and see if it satisfies the criteria that you will be, the judges will be judging your routine upon. If not, go through, take those notes, and find out where and what you need to do to maximize your score sheet for the best possible success for your team. Now, to clean up the routine. Again, an overall 2.5 minute routine is overwhelming. Break down your routine into small individual sections. When you clean, for instance, your jump section, what I suggest is that you transition into the jump section, work the cleanup, and then work out of it. When you work the section only by itself, the athletes sometimes get so boxed in, that's all they remember is that section, but not the transition in and out. And those are probably the most important things, is how to get from one section to the next section seamlessly and fluidly. So transition from your stunt section, you're moving, watch that formation, watch the patterns, watch the cleanliness through each individual athlete, and rearrange them so that it flows and is symmetric to the eye. Then you can go through and hit those motions and work on that particular cleanup, whether it be your stunt or your pyramid or what have you, and then transition out. So as for dance, work each individual section and movement individually and in different groups. Especially with all-star dance choreography, there's so many different levels. What you have to do is break down one side, those girls that are on the floor, break down the other side and those girls on the floor, and just look at them individually. Then have another instructor or another rotation working the next section, and so on and so forth, and being very strict about the standards that you establish for each of those movements, so that it's cohesive through the whole dance, that all the girls are putting their hand behind their head and their elbow is here, for instance, or is the hand on the hip, or is it a fist? Those types of standards you really need to be strict about, and that will give you an overall better look for your dance and a lot more cohesiveness throughout the whole structure. For stunts and pyramids, what I suggest is that you break down individual sections. For instance, if you're doing a straight up extension, just do that. Do it 100 times until the timing is on, until the look is right, and hitting those motions at the top. Nowadays, there's not very many motion sections within the routines, so the motions that the flyers do before they go into a stunt or while they're in the stunt, those are what's going to be judged. So when they go up, hit that extension, then they hit those high V's really, really sharp, that's what you need to clean. Then you can move on to the cradle and the reload, or the dismount, or the retake back down to squish, and moving on to something else. But work one piece at a time. For pyramids, for instance, just work one structure, do the transition, hit the next structure, and then that's it. Then go back and continue to do that process step by step through. When you try to do the whole pyramid all at the same time, it gets overwhelming, and really you're just rehearsing, but you're not cleaning. Overall, here's how you need to clean your routines. Do it in little bitty sections, but don't do it from the very beginning to the end. Because if you start at the very beginning, time runs out and you'll get halfway through. And then the next practice, you start at the beginning, you clean all the way through, and you get a little bit further. But what you're doing is the very beginning gets clean and the very ending not, because you're going to run out of time like we all do towards the end of the season. So break your routine up into small boxes, transition, clean, transition. And for instance, you're going to do your pyramid and the opening one day, then you're going to do your dance and your stunt section another day, and so on and so forth. So break it off into little pieces. Do not clean up from the very beginning to the very end. You'll run out of time, and you'll have a very beautiful beginning, but it will fall apart towards the end.